Picture this: you're standing in a bamboo forest, so secret that even Google Maps can't find it, where the only sound is your heartbeat echoing through ancient stalks that have witnessed centuries of hidden stories. What if I told you that Japan, a country millions think they know, is actually hiding dozens of places so extraordinary that even lifelong locals speak about them only in hushed whispers? I'm about to take you on a journey to 15 secret locations across Japan that will completely shatter everything you thought you knew about this incredible country. These aren't your typical tourist traps or Instagram hotspots. These are places where time stands still, where ancient traditions continue in absolute secrecy, and where the real soul of Japan reveals itself to only the most curious travelers. But here's the thing that's going to blow your mind. Most Japanese people don't even know these places exist. We're talking about locations so hidden, so protected, and so sacred that they've remained untouched by mass tourism for hundreds of years. And by the end of this video, you'll have the exact coordinates and insider knowledge to experience them yourself. Let's start our journey in the mountains of Nara Prefecture, where there's a temple that doesn't appear on any official map. The locals call it the Floating Temple, but its real name is something they refuse to share with outsiders. This ancient structure appears to hover above a misty lake, accessible only during specific tidal conditions that occur just twice a month. The monks who maintain this temple have taken vows of near complete silence, communicating primarily through an intricate system of bell chimes that date back over 800 years. What makes this place absolutely incredible is that the temple's foundation is built on a series of natural springs that create an optical illusion. When the morning mist rises from the heated water below, the entire structure seems to defy gravity. The few visitors who've discovered this hidden gem describe it as stepping into a living meditation, where the boundary between earth and sky dissolves completely. Moving north to Akita Prefecture, there's a village that time genuinely forgot. Yamakoshi isn't on any tourist itinerary, and for good reason. This community of 43 families has maintained the same lifestyle for over 3 centuries, completely isolated from modern Japan. They still use traditional farming methods, speak in a dialect that linguists consider a living fossil, and practice customs that disappeared everywhere else during the Meiji period. The village elder, Takeshi-san, told me something that gave me chills. Every generation selects one family to serve as the memory keepers, responsible for preserving stories and traditions that exist nowhere else on Earth. These families maintain oral histories that stretch back 15 generations, containing details about Japan that historians can only dream of accessing. The village produces a type of sake using wild rice varieties that grow only in their specific microclimate, creating flavors that sommeliers describe as impossible to replicate. But here's where things get really mysterious. Deep in Hokkaido's wilderness, there's a hot spring that locals swear possesses healing properties beyond scientific explanation. The indigenous Ainu people call it the spirit waters, and accessing it requires a 3-day trek through unmarked forest paths that change with the seasons. The spring itself sits at the bottom of a natural amphitheater carved from black volcanic rock, creating acoustics so perfect that whispers carry for hundreds of meters. What's fascinating is that the water temperature remains constant year-round at exactly 37 degrees Celsius, matching human body temperature precisely. Scientists who've studied samples find mineral compositions unlike any other spring in Japan, with elements that shouldn't exist together naturally. The Ainu guides who lead the rare expeditions to this location perform specific rituals before allowing visitors to enter the water, believing that the springs choose who receives their benefits. In Shikoku, the smallest of Japan's main islands, there's a pilgrimage route that doesn't appear in any guidebook about the famous 88 temple circuit. This shadow pilgrimage consists of 13 hidden shrines connected by paths marked only with ancient stone symbols that most people mistake for natural rock formations. Each shrine guards a specific aspect of Japanese spiritual knowledge that was forced underground during various periods of religious persecution. The pilgrimage takes exactly 21 days to complete, and tradition dictates that it can only be undertaken during the new moon phases. Local mystics believe that walking this route in the proper sequence unlocks profound insights about Japanese spiritual philosophy that were deliberately hidden from mainstream Buddhism and Shintoism. The few foreigners who've completed this journey describe experiencing visions and dreams so vivid that they fundamentally changed their understanding of consciousness itself. Perhaps the most incredible hidden location sits on a tiny island between Okinawa and Taiwan. Technically part of Japan but culturally unique, this island hosts a community of artists who've created the world's most isolated art colony. These 23 artists from various countries arrived here separately over the past decade, drawn by stories of the island's extraordinary creative energy. They've established a completely self-sufficient community where money doesn't exist and artistic collaboration replaces traditional economic exchange. The island's unique magnetic properties, caused by rare mineral deposits in its volcanic core, apparently affect human creativity in ways that neuroscientists are just beginning to understand. The artworks created here possess qualities that art critics struggle to categorize, combining techniques and perspectives that seem to emerge from collective unconscious experiences. The island's most mysterious feature is a natural cave system that amplifies sound in impossible ways. Instruments played inside these caves produce harmonics that don't follow normal acoustic principles, creating music that listeners describe as otherworldly. The colony's musicians have recorded albums in these caves that sound completely different depending on where you listen to them, as if the recording captures not just sound but the cave's entire energetic signature. In the mountains of Gifu Prefecture, there's a forest where the trees grow in perfect geometric patterns that defy natural explanation. Local foresters call it the mathematics grove, and the trees form spirals, fractals, and other complex mathematical shapes with precision that would be impossible to achieve artificially. Scientists studying this phenomenon have discovered that the forest's growth patterns follow equations that weren't discovered by human mathematicians until centuries after the trees began growing. What's even more remarkable is that the forest seems to be expanding its geometric complexity over time, as if it's solving increasingly sophisticated mathematical problems through its growth patterns. The few botanists who've studied this location theorize that the forest represents a form of plant intelligence that we're only beginning to comprehend. Moving to Kyushu, there's a traditional pottery village where artisans create ceramics using techniques that produce impossible colors. The village of Hikarimura sits atop a unique clay deposit that contains minerals found nowhere else on Earth. When fired using traditional methods passed down through 27 generations, this clay produces glazes that shift colors depending on viewing angle and lighting conditions. Master Potter Yamada-san, whose family has guarded these techniques for over 600 years, creates pieces that seem to glow from within. The secret lies in a specific firing process that takes place only during certain astronomical alignments, when the mineral composition of the clay responds to gravitational forces in ways that modern science cannot fully explain. In Tokyo itself, hidden beneath the modern metropolis, there's an underground temple complex that predates the city by over 1,000 years. Accessible only through a discreet entrance in an unremarkable office building, this subterranean sanctuary consists of 7 interconnected chambers carved directly from bedrock. Each chamber contains artwork and sculptures that chronicle Japan's spiritual evolution across millennia. The temple's most extraordinary feature is a natural spring that flows upward through the rock, defying gravity in a way that hydraulic engineers cannot explain. The water maintains perfect purity despite flowing through urban Tokyo, and its mineral content suggests origins deep within the Earth's mantle. Monks who maintain this hidden sanctuary claim that the upward flowing water represents the spiritual energy that underlies all of Tokyo's modern chaos. Perhaps the most secretive location of all exists on Mount Fuji itself. High on the mountain's sacred slopes, there's a meditation cave where Buddhist masters have practiced continuous meditation for over 1,200 years. This isn't a monastery or temple, but a single cave where one monk at a time maintains an unbroken meditation that has continued through centuries, passed from master to student in an unbroken chain. The current meditation master, whose identity remains completely secret, has been in continuous meditation for 17 years. Local pilots report seeing unusual light phenomena emanating from the cave during certain weather conditions, and seismic equipment detects rhythmic vibrations from the location that match no known geological activity. What makes all these locations truly special isn't just their physical uniqueness, but their spiritual significance to Japanese culture. They represent aspects of Japan's soul that survived modernization by remaining hidden, preserving ancient wisdom and practices that would otherwise be lost forever. These secret places remind us that even in our hyper-connected world, mystery still exists. They prove that Japan contains depths that most visitors never imagine, layers of culture and spirituality that reveal themselves only to those willing to look beyond the obvious. The question isn't whether these places will remain secret forever, but whether we can approach them with the reverence and respect they deserve. Each location represents centuries of careful preservation by people who understood that some treasures become more valuable when shared thoughtfully rather than broadcast widely. If you decide to seek out any of these hidden gems, remember that you're not just a tourist, but a temporary guardian of secrets that have survived for generations. Approach them with humility, respect the local customs, and leave no trace except your gratitude for being allowed to witness something truly extraordinary.